Sometimes I can't get past feeling mistreated. Join me for a 5-minute look at a joyful, almost instantaneous move that moves us forward for good. Welcome to 5-Minute Spirituality. It's a look at how the great spiritual masters, the biggies, help you enjoy and thrive in your life right now. A while ago, I got a speeding ticket for the first time in 35 years. It was upsetting. I thoughtlessly let my car go faster than I'd intended for maybe a minute. But in that minute, I'd been pulled over. Afterward, I knew I'd have a 2-hour drive still in front of me, which seemed likely to be unpleasant and full of recriminations. So I took a moment to focus on my breathing. Immediately, I realized I was upset with myself for my mistake. So I let that go, and that felt good. Then I realized I needed to forgive the officer, who clearly was just doing his job, but who hadn't given me a break. So I did that. And I enjoyed my drive home just fine. Veteran meditators sometimes say that there are 3 basic moves in meditation. The first they call concentration. That's what we've talked about that comes as we focus on our breath. Concentration helps us not ruminate over past problems or worry about future ones. Some great sages have made the point that God only lives in the present moment. The past is over, so they say. He's not there, and the future is hypothetical, and God is the essence of the actual. So this sort of concentration meditation helps us experience the God who is, which feels great. The second they call loving kindness. That's how we experience others and how others experience us. As we get more still, we see ourselves more clearly and more compassionately, and most meditators find that then flows through them into compassion towards others. But the third is often called mindfulness, a term that comes up in many settings these days, and that's the aspect we're looking at today. Mindfulness is the part where we just notice what's actually happening with us, and it's the basis of the loving kindness we were hoping for. So rather than just feeling lousy after I got the ticket and then trying to shove down that lousy feeling as I continued my long drive home, I took a moment to notice what was there, just to acknowledge it. The reason we take this moment of stillness to acknowledge whatever we find in this friendly, welcoming way, even if the emotions or thoughts are hard, is because the rest of our days are all about trying to push away all those bad feelings. None of us wants to feel those emotions, so our psyches automatically try to force them out of sight. But the cost of that is that we feel a certain agitation or pressure as our low-level but constant default state. The wisdom of mindfulness is that we can just be with ourselves as we are. And most people find that they then do feel a whole lot better. I've had moments where I'll out of nowhere have thoughts waft in about how I've been mistreated, and I'll show those rotten people how horrible they are. And suddenly, noticing the thought, I'll focus on my breath for 2 moments, and then I'll internally say something like, "Welcome, revenge." And then pretty much without fail, I'll laugh at how bluntly that came out. And the angry thoughts will waft away, and I'll be back into whatever I was doing. Welcoming, rather than shoving down our thoughts, is a big part of mindfulness. It's about learning to be friends with our actual self and our actual life, rather than psychically and fruitlessly trying to create an alternate life. One friend tells me about a session she was in where a woman realized that she'd categorized the thought she was feeling in a hard way, as self-hatred. And the woman internally said to those thoughts, "Welcome, self-hatred. Have a seat over there." And the power of that for this woman was that she both wasn't driving the thought out, but was also giving it an assigned place rather than its usual place of dominating her thought life. Let me give you an image that's helped me. Picture a waterfall. The waterfall represents your emotions and obsessive thoughts tumbling and churning down. But now picture an alcove behind the waterfall. This is where meditation can bring you to an ability not to eliminate your emotions and thoughts, but to observe them from a safe space. I lead a few groups on this stuff, and the phrase, "I'm getting behind the waterfall," has become a common one in those circles. It's pretty useful. Jesus has a prescription for spiritual health, which is a kind of childlikeness, which contemplatives say points to a quality of openness. The opposite of openness here is being closed. So think about the energy you can feel when you're first in love and you think your beloved might love you back. What a rush, even if you, say, haven't kept up with your work at the gym or haven't gotten enough sleep. But the second they give you mixed signals, your heart closes up defensively and all the energy you felt you lose. As we welcome whatever comes in our contemplative times, we start to develop the openness that Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount calls purity of heart. By contrast, being closed is psychically fighting your actual thoughts and emotions. Several times during my day, I'll stop for 4 or 5 breaths to be only briefly still and make sure that I'm actually centered in this moment, open to what God has for me now, rather than fighting some old grudge or worrying about some possible future problem. As you meditate today, start, of course, with a good time of concentration, of following your breath. But as thoughts and emotions come in, open your heart to them and then return to your breath. Okay, that's it for today. Next up is a theory from a famous psychologist that, true story, changed my life and helped me understand the spiritual journey I was on in a way that nothing else had. And if you enjoy 5 Minute Spirituality, you might also enjoy a lively weekly podcast on these things called Journey On with my name, Dave Smeltzer. And I also host a vibrant online group on this stuff each week with people from all over. To learn more, feel free to shoot us an email. See you soon.